Yo, what's going on, guys? What is going on? All right, so I've got a little conversation that I wanted to share with you guys. Um, so we're gonna just do a little live stream on it here, and hang on a second. Yeah, we're gonna do a live stream on it, guys. So we're just gonna cover this. It's about an hour long. It's a discussion about the merger with the ASI tokens. Right? What's going to happen? Fetch AI, Singularity Net, and Ocean. So we're going to get into that, guys. We're going to listen to that. I will be back a little bit later to do the normal live stream, but I wanted to throw this in there today, guys, so you guys could kind of get an update on what's happening with the merger and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and play that. And yeah, I'll see you guys in a bit.
Righty. Gregory, I believe it's time to get the music, brother. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, I believe we've all gathered up. I see that all of our speakers are here. Allow me to introduce the format and the overall discussion that's about to take place. This is the first ASI token merger discussion held, and it will focus on addressing some of the key issues that we've seen as a community. I would like to introduce some of the wonderful speakers. We'll start off with Humayun Sheikh, CEO of Fetch AI. We'll also have Dr. Ben Gwartzel joining us, who is a CEO and Chief Scientist of SingularityNet. And we also have Dr. Trent McConaughey, who is also a founder of Ocean Protocol. And together, these three titans of the industry will walk you through some of the more practical implications of the more recent news. And it will answer some of the most impactful questions that the community has posed to us. And towards the end, we'll have a live Q&A session where all of you will be able to ask some of the more pressing questions, including questions related to the vision of the ASI in general, but also the token utility and anything else that you find curious and would love to know more about. With that being said, Humayun, I'd love to throw the ball over your way. You can start off with an introduction, and then you can proceed with an opening remark.
Hi, everybody. Thank you. It's great to be here. Really, our first proper ASI merger discussion. And we're here, I'm representing Fetch. For those of you who don't know me, the CEO and founder of Fetch. And yeah, we're going to open up the discussion today. I think there's a lot to cover. We will get on with it. I'll pass it on to Ben.
Ben, mic check. We'd love to hear from you.
I think Ben is in listener mode. We can offer it to Trent. Trent is here, so yeah, he's in the speaker mode. Ben is here.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, it is good to be here with my friends from Ocean and Fetch to talk about the token merger and mostly to answer any questions about the tokenomic merger and ASI alliance that people may have. I mean, we've been going through a whole bunch of administrative and communication stuff just about getting the token merger finally rolled out. And then more interestingly than that, we've also been having a bunch of discussions on collaboration on commercial projects and integration of our underlying technologies. Because I mean, the tokenomic merger doesn't require us to integrate all our platforms or launch joint products. On the other hand, it gives an incentive to do so, and exploring those options is really the more interesting part. And I'm glad we'll be on to focusing on that more and more as things advance. And so, in spite of the unfortunate delay, the tokenomic merger is not too far off, and we're psyched about moving through all the stages of this this collaboration.
Well, thank you, Ben. And Trent, we'd love to hear from you as well. What do you think about the most recent news, but also what is your vision with respect to the ASI network in general?
Yes, so hi everyone, and great to join Hamayan and Ben here on stage. And overall, you know, there's several really great reasons why we joined forces at the token level. And one of the big ones is that it takes us to a larger scale more quickly. There's the tokenomic side, but there's also simply the technology side, where the technology gets to scale larger. And make no mistake, you know, ASI is heating up. Sorry, AI is heating up, and you know, right now we're still in the realm of narrow AI, but it's getting more and more general with every passing day, with every announcement. And we're getting into artificial general intelligence, where things are par with human capabilities across the board. And as soon as we hit AGI, artificial general intelligence, you know, after that, you know, the next gate after that is artificial superintelligence, ASI. And this is where, you know, the AIs are not just at the level of humans, but potentially 10x or more powerful yet, right? And we see that it's really important for humanity to have decentralized options around this, right? To level the playing field, such that every human on the planet can access this technology, these benefits that can accrue, rather than just a few large pockets, right? So that's really the macro level motivation around ASI, is to level the playing field around AI and data as it relates to AI, and not just the AI of today, but the AGIs, then ASIs of tomorrow. And that's what we're going hot and heavy towards. So, you know, the near-term stuff, we're going through it as we need, you know, dealing with regulators, dealing with everyone else that we need. But, you know, as a builder, I'm really excited about where we're taking this, what is going to get built at scale over time. Thanks.
Well, that's a brilliant opening.
Yeah.
I've never heard one. Ben, go ahead.
Yeah, Trent, I think, yeah, I'm glad you brought the focus back to actual super intelligence, which obviously is what we're after here. Because I mean, I think you know, you and I have been going back and forth in discussions on AI technology for some time, and I think we, as I remember, we first met when I was using some of your machine learning technology for stock prediction in a hedge fund I was involved with in Hong Kong, like quite more than 10 years ago, maybe 12, 13 years ago or something. So we've both been looking at AI and building AI systems for a long time. But I mean, there's never been this level of activity and enthusiasm in the field. And I mean, it now seems quite plausible that Ray Kurzweil's target of 2029 for human level AI can actually happen, and that it could even be sooner. It could be 3 years, it could be 8 years, but it looks like it may not be another couple decades before we get to human level AGI. And indeed, once you get there, then your AGI is doing the next stage of software development, and it may be quite rapid to get to actual super intelligence, like machines that are much smarter than humans. And you know, it will be for all our good if we can do that in the decentralized realm, rather than having big tech and big government do it. And you know, the vision that we've had in merging together the tokens of our three projects, and thus incentivizing deeper collaboration among the three projects and communities. I mean, the vision is, we can get there without this merger, but in a way, there's an AGI race, and our competitors are these multi-trillion-dollar companies working together with the biggest governments in the world, and we want to make sure that we can win the race to AGI and then ASI. I mean, I think we have strong ideas, we have strong software technologies, and we have the power of open, decentralized community on our side. But by joining forces in this way, we can increase the odds of being the first to get to AGI, which then increases the odds that AGI comes out well, because we'll all be better off if decentralized gets there before centralized. And I mean, in doing any interesting thing, there's a lot of small and often less interesting steps to go through along the way, right? So, I mean, obviously, we've been pushing through a lot of administrivia and legal documents and regulatory stuff and discussions with third parties just to get the initial tokenomic merger done. I mean, it's going to happen, and it's going to happen fairly soon. But we've been pushing through all that. But as Trent says, we're in this for creating actual AGI and ASI. We're close in historical terms. There's still some work to get there. So I mean, in that perspective, that unfortunate delay of the merger from mid-June to mid-July. I mean, I get that it's really annoying, and it pissed me off too that we had to do that. On the other hand, it doesn't actually affect the scope of what we're doing and pulling our projects together to build decentralized AGI and super intelligence, which is just really the most exciting phase in my career. And I've been working like 30 to 40 years on AI. It's never been as exciting as it is now, and has never looked as promising.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you. It's I do agree with you, and that your core message resonates. Administrivia is a challenge, but it's only a short-term challenge. And once we're past this short-term phase and people can focus on the long-term, the benefits and the overall impact that the ASI ecosystem would shine through. And I believe that would encourage even more people to feel Trent's overall enthusiasm, to spark that interest and curiosity, to begin tinkering with the various tech stack and begin finding ways to leverage AI technology in beneficial and ultimately productive ways, so that we can all move forward as society. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, given that the merger has been delayed from a tokenomics perspective, I'd like to reassure everyone, token holders including, that there are currently no actions you need to take. You do not need to feel rushed. You do not need to feel pressured. The three teams are working hand in hand to resolve any issues that might arise, and proper documentation, including documentation that focuses on the conversion methods, as well as materials that would inform you on what this merger looks like from a practical perspective with Unimerge. Please exercise due diligence when exploring links, when checking out ASI-related content across social media. And if you're looking for the source of truth, the Superintelligence.io website is your source of truth, including the Fetch AI, the Ocean, and the SingularityNet main websites. So thank you very much, gentlemen. We initially had a sequence of questions prepared, but it seems to me that your opening remarks kind of solved all of those. Though I'd love to ask a few of the more practical questions prior to our departure to the more visionary ones. Now, a question for Humayun. Humayun, we now have a launch date, the 15th of July. Can we rely on this launch date, or can we expect a little bit of slippage around it?
We are working really hard to get to that date. It still has multiple stakeholders. Just to give you kind of a bit more clarity, The mainnet is all ready. The testnet is being tested, and I think the validators are going to be approached, and we're going to start onboarding validators. So we should be ready on the mainnet fairly soon. The contracts in terms of the bridge contracts or swap contracts, they've already been deployed. The ASI contract has been deployed. So there is no technical complication as such, but you have to understand that it's a fairly sized mission that we are onboarding. You have 3 tokens which are listed on almost every exchange there is, and to get kind of everybody to get to sync and to actually deliver this, there are some technical challenges, there's some regulatory challenges, but we feel that we've overcome them all. I think one thing I want to quite make clear is that one of the major reasons why we didn't want to, and we could have opened the bridges, we could have opened some of the mainnet. The main thing which we were concerned about was to make sure that our community is fully educated, they have all the information that is required, and we have done enough AMAs, enough sessions to make sure that we don't fall prey to any of these scams. We make sure that everybody does the right thing. So we wanted to have enough time to go in and kind of talk to our communities to make sure they onboard on this journey in the right way, and we don't have perhaps maybe have a little bit more delay, but no mishaps in terms of people losing their tokens or people doing the wrong thing and the tokens getting stuck. So we're going to try our best to give you all the information as quickly as we can. We don't feel there will be a delay beyond the 15th. Hopefully we will deliver it before. But if you said to me, is it 100%? Never. Anything is never 100%, but I'm 99% there.
Thank you. And let me just reinforce Aman's point. The teams are working around the clock, and once again, if you feel like this merger would impact you, you do not need to rush. Both educational resources will be made available, and you will be able to onboard yourself in a sovereign manner without the reliance on any third party, and certainly without the reliance on anyone claiming they're here to help you or walk you through. With that being said, I'd love to ask Trent a question. This is a question that has continuously popped up across all 3 communities. And it's also a question that is highly impactful for anyone listening. And it is, given that all of these companies that are racing towards ASI and AGI fundamentally rely on data, in your estimation, what are some of the more practical approaches that the ASI Alliance can take to ensure that data is not only private, but it's also a resource for the regular human, as opposed to a resource for these multi-trillion-dollar companies alone?
Yeah, that's a great question. The resources you need to get to more and more powerful AIs are energy, compute, and data. And the bottleneck between those will keep shifting, right? 1 month it'll be like energy is a bottleneck. 6 months later it'll be compute is a bottleneck. 6 months later it'll be data is a bottleneck, and it'll shift back and forth and back and forth. But it's not on the data side. To your question, there's data as the bottleneck, and of course, if you're training an AI model and you don't really care about people's privacy, you're going to try to hoover up as much as you can and just ignore it all. But this can be pretty dangerous if you are hoovering up data that doesn't belong to you, that is private, that maybe you purchased, that is private, all of this, right? So the good news is that crypto Web3 technology can make a big difference in helping to preserve that privacy while still training powerful models, etc. Right? So leveraging cryptography techniques, everything from multi-party compute to homomorphic encryption, trusted execution environments, and more to achieve that, and even more mundane sounding things, but even more pragmatic things like compute to data, like Ocean Protocol has employed for years now. So you can leverage technologies like this in the context of decentralized systems, such that you can train large models that the training of the model is respectful of people's data and privacy. And in fact, by doing it decentralized, you actually have an advantage compared to centralized, in that we don't have to say, please trust us. We don't have to say, don't be evil. Rather, it simply can't be evil. Inspect for yourself, looking at the code and looking at the what's running and stuff, right? So that's actually a pretty big benefit of going to the decentralized systems. It's no longer being forced to trust some centralized institution. Anyone can inspect for themselves what's going on. Given that the code is open source across the board, then lots of people can inspect and so on, and get audits, etc., around that. And this is, we've been building technologies towards this for years in all three cases, and leveraging some of these technologies as well, computed data, trusted execution environments more. So that's one aspect, and it actually means that we can even access more data than others would have, because the OpenAIs of the world can't actually truly access people's private data in any way where the people are going to feel good about that, right? But if you're much more naturally decentralized, then it gives more access to that sort of data. Will that end up being the bottleneck to getting to AGI level AIs? We'll see, right? But it's certainly an advantage. And then in terms of compute, I want to mention this too. It is a race along all of these bottlenecks, data, compute, etc. And one thing people ask, how can you possibly have a chance against these, companies throwing $100 billion at the problem? And I remind them, the biggest computer in the world is Bitcoin. And it was rolled out by, a single hacker or maybe a team, but Satoshi. And the power of incentives is what drove many, many people to come in and run the compute, the hash power in the case of Bitcoin, in order to scale up and get, a large amount of compute, in its case, pure hashing for security. So Fetch, Singularity, and Ocean, we've been at this game for many years, working with AI and incentives. So we've all become quite good at designing token engineering games, mechanisms for corralling compute power and other games. And this is what allows us to see, this is why we see that while we're competing against projects that have $100 billion of allocation towards compute, we have incentives and we have the decentralization technology. So where we see that this is some of the different, this is some of the cards that we can play that they can't play so easily because of the nature of decentralized. So yeah, hopefully that helps to answer the question.
It does, and that was a marvelous answer. Thank you for that comprehensive approach. I do agree that some of the community members seem to kind of get lost in translation, but the shuffling between bottlenecks, including the specific advantages that Web3 technology offers in the context of beneficial AI, should be made more clear. And with that being said, Humayun, I'd love to ask you a little bit of an organizational question. We know that the Web3 tech stack offers incredible benefits in principle, but in practice, it's up to us as humans to execute this in a way that would allow us to actually benefit from those currently theoretical benefits. So the question is, how do you envision the ASI project organizing itself, and how do you envision these kind of fluent day-to-day activities that fundamentally contribute to the broader success of the project to play out across teams and across ecosystems?
Yeah, it's when we were discussing this merger, and I think all three projects were looking at it, one of the things that was very clear is that we still want to stay a very decentralized approach, which means that the sovereignty of each project should stay, and the ability for projects to develop should stay. But the main thing is the primary goal needs to be identified, and the primary goal, as I think Ben and Trent have very eloquently laid out, is the building of AGI and ultimately ASI. And the thing that kind of I bring a little bit more into this is that while we're building all of that, we don't forget commercialization strategies, and that's very important. And it's even more important when the project is a bit more decentralized. So In terms of the structure, the framework, we set the goals, the objectives on top, which is quite like perhaps LLMs, which is the flavor of the year, or where you set the objectives and you get the response. And what is quite interesting is that you could work out a truly decentralized system where projects are still independent but working towards the same goal. And that's how we want to keep this structure. And we don't want to kind of disrupt that, because that is the strength of this structure, that projects can build what the technology they want to build, more aligned towards a goal that has been identified and that has been agreed. And that's, I think, how we structured ourselves, that the treasuries are on their own, the project teams stay whatever way they are most efficient, and the projects control them. But we are aiming towards a unified goal, and that's how we want to keep aligning. So we obviously have discussions. We'll have technical discussions. We have we have discussions about the framework on where we operate, but the goals are aligned, and I think that's the beauty of such a merger. And you know what? This is the first ever of such kind of a merger, and I'm sure we will learn from it, and I'm sure we'll see more of it. But I'm hoping that the way we are structuring it is the most efficient way of aligning our goals and still maintaining our sovereignty.
Thank you for the comprehensive answer, and I'd love to jump to Ben, but prior to asking that question, Ben, can I just get a mic check? Is everything all right on your end?
Yeah,
All right.
I think I'm all right.
I'd love to hear.
I think that. Can you hear me?
Yep,
Okay.
yep. All right.
Yeah, I did phase out for a moment. So I heard Humayun, but I'm not sure what question he was responding to.
The question was centered around the organizational approach that the ASI Alliance would take to ensure that the theoretical.
Oh yeah. Well, that's great. I mean, I think that's it's a great question, and actually, that while my focus is on actually building AGI and then ASI as decentralized software, I mean, obviously the way the humans engaging in the work are organized is extremely important, since for the time being it is humans doing a lot of the work. And I think this novel way of organizing things that Humayun first conceived and that we have sort of fleshed out together, I think it has a number of significant advantages over conventional ways of organizing large scale projects, because by having a collection of separate autonomous organizations like Fetch Foundation and Singularity Net Foundation, Oceans Foundation, by having these entities remain separate and still doing their own thing, doing their own goals and understanding, but having a common incentivization by a shared token. I mean, I think we're going to be able to get the economy of scale that comes from having these different projects together and all working together, but yet not succumb to the sort of slow-paced bureaucracy that tends to happen in the conventional business world when you merge companies together. Like what you see in the conventional tech ecosystem now is startups innovate, and as soon as they introduce an innovation, they're eaten by a big tech company. They stop innovating, but their product gets scaled and rolled out to a lot of users, right? So I mean we're not trying to bog down like that. We want to keep our agility and creativity, and we want to have the flexibility to easily.
Mic check. You're cutting off again, Ben. Can I get a confirmation from Trent? Trent, are you able to hear Ben, or is this just on my end?
Yeah, we lost
We
Ben.
lost Ben. Alrighty, well, Ben, I'll give you a moment to reconnect.
Okay.
Oh, you're still here?
Well, I hear myself very well. Yeah.
Okay.
I hear
Yeah,
you
we
too,
can hear
Ben.
you now. It seems to me that there was a slight cutoff. But I do agree with you that the ways that you organize yourself, like the optimal organizational approach, should allow you to maintain your flexibility and sovereignty to pursue the various experiments that still need to happen in order for us to find the actual path toward AGI. But it also needs to be structured enough to allow the ASI Alliance to move as a unit and to move in harmony. And this ties in nicely.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I
Yeah,
was
go ahead.
what I was saying when I cut out was, I mean, a couple concrete collaborations. So Singularity Net is setting up some supercomputer facilities, and Fetch through Fetch Compute is doing similar. So I mean, we can, on a very concrete level, we have more incentive now to pool our supercomputers with Fetch's supercomputers and use these as a hub for a vastly larger decentralized compute network running on, Ocean, Fetch, and SNet, and then on other ecosystem networks like NuNet and Hypercycle also. So as Trent mentioned, you need algorithms, you need data, you need compute to make AGI and then ASI happen. And we can collaborate on all of these levels, right? Like on the compute level, SNet supercomputer can work with Fetch's supercomputer, and these can all work with decentralized processing networks consisting of individuals running nodes across the three projects. I mean, on the data level, obviously data sets sitting on SNet, Fetch, or Ocean, they're all available for AI processes running on any of these networks to use. And then on the AI algorithmics level, again, it's important that each of us can pursue our own direction, and also fascinating to merge them together, right? So we've got OpenCog Hyperon trying to build neural symbolic evolutionary AGI in SNet, and we're going to keep doing that. That project has its own integrity. It's been going on for some time. It's starting to yield very interesting results. In Ocean, Trent has been working on Predictor, doing sort of a crowdsourced ensemble agent-based prediction of complex time series. And in Fetch, you have unique approach to agent orchestration for putting together decentralized community of AI agents solving practical commercial problems. So I mean, each of these things contributes something different to the quest to create decentralized general intelligence running across networks on the internet, right? And we don't need any of these initiatives to stop or to become the other one. We always knew we could connect these things together, but life was busy and we prioritized other things. And now the merger gives us more motivation to actually network these different AI software approaches together. So, I mean, I think while we don't have a hard requirement to integrate everything we're doing together, we can keep exploring autonomously, and we will in various regards. I think on the compute, data, and software level, there are concrete ways that we're already talking about collaborating together and joining forces to create a more scalable initiative that can beat big tech in the AGI race.
Thank you. Thank you, Ben. Thank you for that comprehensive answer. I'd love to circle back to Trent and ask Trent, we have this merger of game theoretic incentives that usually navigate the space, but AI models themselves are also in many ways navigated by these same incentives, right, with data mediating them. And I'm curious, from a practical perspective, can we leverage the incentives that the blockchain gives us, and the incentives that the blockchain offers people, and combine that with the kind of the incentives that, well, functional AI gives all of us, right? Because having better models gives us more productivity, gives us more opportunity. And so I'm curious, in order to harness a bigger community, Can we leverage the blockchain to attract it? And can we leverage kind of the practical day-to-day benefits that people would see to ensure that we channel that energy and that, well, fundamentally we produce value, not purely from a commercial perspective, but generally from a scientific perspective, progress on the front of AI, impact that would generally be able to compete with big tech, entirely based on game theoretic incentives running across these distributed networks.
Yeah, so you've talked about incentives at the level of humans and users, and incentives at the level of sort of one level lower inside the machines towards constructing the models, etc. The level of humans, build something people want, to quote Paul Graham. That's really the heart of it, right? And that you can frame that from a commercial perspective. Companies like to make money or save money or be efficient in some way, right? Or just unlock new capabilities, or from a science perspective, it's what enables you to get new KPIs, to measure new things, to learn more about the knowledge of the world, etc. Right? So the summary from that sort of human top level or business or science perspective is build something people want, whether it's individuals, whether it's business, whether it's scientists or otherwise. One level below is really more of the more interesting from a pure technical perspective, which is how do you build an AGI? And Ben had described that we have multiple hypotheses within ASI Alliance of how this can go, and that means we have not just one horse in the race, many horses in the race, but we're swapping notes, etc. Right? He talked about OpenCog Hyperon. He talked about the LLM effort in SingularyNet, the predictor scaling up from Ocean, and then the fetch agents approach. So all of these are credible candidates, and all of these can get juiced up, amped up via token incentives. For example, with Predictor, this is a project that I'm driving with in Ocean. The heart of it is an economic game where people data scientists submit predictions every 5 minutes, for example, to predict will Bitcoin price go up or down, yes or no. And if 5 minutes later the true price comes along, right? If they're correct, they make money. If they're wrong, they lose money. And it's crowdsourced, so many people submit the predictions. It's all privacy preserving, etc., using privacy preserving tech. So it's all it's crowdsourced. People submit these predictions, and then traders, etc., can come along and buy those. Now that's the first use case, is for token price prediction, because there's obvious benefit to traders, etc., who want to buy this to get alpha for trading, and we're getting accuracies at 52 to 15%. But what we're also doing is proving out the incentive game, right? This mechanism of crowdsourcing predictions to try to predict, one of the notoriously difficult things to predict, right? Which is financial time series. And the game is working very well. And in fact, the accuracy is climbing over time because it's an arms race among the people who are making these predictions, right? And you might think, okay, well, this is just, this is just, little predictions for DeFi token prices, but how does that relate to AI and AGI and ASI? And the answer is prediction is the essence of intelligence. If you want to have an intelligent agent that's going around, that's building a model of the world, well, what does a model of the world mean? It means that the agent can predict, if I move my arm this way, it's going to have this impact. If I step forward in this way, it's going to have this impact. Or more complicated reasoning itself, right? So agents can't make decisions unless they have an ability to predict what the effect of those decisions might be, right? The effect of those actions might be, and then take action based on contemplating many possible actions, having a prediction for each, and then choosing the action that has the best potential outcome, right? So prediction is the essence of intelligence, and that's a quote from Jan LeCun, by the way, of Meta, Facebook fame. Anyway, so that's just an example from Ocean Predictor, right? Where we're building this game. We've already demonstrated that it's working very well for time series prediction in token prices, and we plan to scale it up within DeFi first, and then beyond to energy, which of course has big implications in AI, and to weather and more, right? And once you start having prediction across not just 20 feeds, but 200, 2,000, 20,000 and more, and you have a large foundational model across all of these, it starts to get extremely interesting, right? It's like a world model for dynamics of the world itself. So basically, to wrap this up, your question was around what does it look like to have incentives at the human level, at the last mile level, and at lower levels. And at the last mile level, it's really classic questions of business and traction. Ultimately, build something people want. In the case of AI, it's help people make more efficient businesses, answer new questions, learn scientific knowledge, etc. And then one level lower, it's really a question of token engineering, right? Designing mechanisms that help you to train super powerful models, or maybe not you training, but incentivizing others to train, and then you loop those together in some way. And I gave the example from Ocean Predictor of how we're doing this. And there's other crypto economic games inside the work from Fetch and SingularityNet as well. So we've got several horses in this race towards AGI and ASI, and we're dovetailing each other among this. Multiple hypotheses. I think we're all sufficiently epistemically humble. We don't know which approach will click, right? That's why we have multiple approaches, and but we're swapping knowledge and so on. And because decentralization, we're able to leverage great ideas from others depending on what level we have this crypto economic game, right? And Ocean's time series prediction, it doesn't even see what models people are using. It's just aggregating their final predictions towards this macro level model, right? So yeah, hopefully that helps to answer the question and gives a flavor of where we're headed for AI and incentives.
That was a brilliant answer. I love it. And make something people want. That's incredibly simple. And given that Humayun has been traveling the globe from conference to conference, speaking with business representatives from small and medium and giant corporations, I'd love to ask you, Humayun, what do businesses want? What are the blockers towards achieving commercial viability?
Yeah, I think in the context of AI, the answer is pretty simple. Yes, we are building this big, huge AI and AGI and everything, and for sure this has huge value. But if you look at majority of businesses at the moment, they are very simplistic in their approach. They want to make money, they want to be profitable, and they want something to help them achieve that. Now, I'm trying to bring. I'm sorry. I mean, the conversation has been pretty up there with the AI and AGI, and I'm sorry. I'm just bringing it back down to a little bit into the real world business side. What we really need to do, and this is from my past experience from DeepMind, and this is over the last 10 years that I've been working in this sector. The main thing is, how do you simplify a very complex thing, which is the development of AI, AGI, ASI? How do you bring it down to the user? And I think I want to kind of take a parallel in here from OpenAI and the ChatGPT. We have LLMs, we've had LLMs for tens of years, didn't scale as much. Of course, the compute is partly to play, but what really kicked this off was when a normal user who didn't have anything to do with technology, could interact with this technology in a very simplistic way. You type your questions, you get the answer, and then you use the answer to do things. You type your question, you request an action, and something happens. And I think what I'm feeling here, especially big corporates, are not very nimble. They're very difficult to move. They take their time. Getting legacy systems to interact with this new technology is the key point that we need to focus on if you want to commercialize. And it's not going to be, legacy businesses should change everything. That's not going to happen. Big businesses don't move fast. There is legacy systems which have been there since 1970s, which people haven't changed, and they're turning billions of dollars. So what we need to do is we need to create technologies, the middleware, which actually enables to onboard these businesses to this new paradigm shift. And I think part of our focus in commercializing this innovative and amazing technology is to simplify a methodology where you onboard businesses, individuals, and give them a very simplistic solution, which actually brings efficiency to the business, profitability to the business, and that commercially, that's where our focus is going to be.
Thank you. Thank you. And just to circle around the point, make something people want. Well, thank God we have this incredibly well-established community, a community between 3 projects. And I'd love to take this opportunity to invite everyone to think about it. What is it that you want? Because you don't have to be observers. You can be active participants in this ecosystem. And telling us what are the products and services and the value adds that you'd love to see would inform our decision-making. It will help us channel our collective energy. And so I invite everyone to tweet, to engage with the websites, to engage with the Telegrams and Discords and Reddits, and simply tell us, what is it that you'd love to see? What are the products and services that would truly contribute greatly? I'd also love to open up on the floor to questions from the people that are actually listening live. If you guys are all right with that, I'd love to take a couple of questions.
Absolutely. And I think we just need to also cover some of the concerns the community has in terms of what's going to happen with the tokens. I think we need to perhaps clarify a few things, and I'd like you'd like to make a point of answering those questions as well, so that community feels that we have answered some of their concerns about the token itself and what they need to do with it.
Well, you can take this opportunity to address those concerns if you'd like to.
Yeah, sure. So I think one of the main questions which I can answer, and then I guess I'll invite Trent and Ben to join me in this. I'll start with the mainnet question. What do people who are actually on the Fetch mainnet, what do they need to do? How is this going to go? If you are holding token on Fetch mainnet, we're in the process of running a testnet, and we're going to upgrade this into ASI mainnet. You do not need to do at this point anything. Once the network is upgraded, which validators will participate in, your tokens will be converted. Your wallet addresses will become ASI wallet addresses instead of Fetch wallet addresses. And you just be able to, after the upgrade, you'll be able to access your tokens in the very same way. The second question, perhaps related to this, is how do you, if you want to convert tokens either from Ethereum to the mainnet or mainnet to Ethereum, there will be bridges which would operate in the same way as they do today. So there's no change, just the upgrade will happen, and then you'll be able to convert the tokens from ASI mainnet to ASI Ethereum contract, and we will provide you all the information regarding that. The last point, if you're on Fetch mainnet, you will become ASI mainnet. Any integrations we have with exchanges will happen, and we'll keep you posted of the time. So anything where we were integrated with the exchanges will continue to be the same. As I said, timeline, we will keep you updated, and hopefully we expect and hope that this will be within the 15th of July. And again, we will let you know exactly the dates and times when updates are happening, the upgrades are happening, and we keep you posted. So I'll deal with the Fetch network side. I'll invite Ben and Trent to kind of jump in terms of the Ethereum side and some of the exchange conversation we can do.
Thank you, Humayun. And just to sum things up, we will try and make this as smooth as possible, both in collaborating with exchange partners and decentralized exchange partners, as well as supplying everyone with all of the needed information. We will also tell you when we expect network downtime, and we'll also tell you when the network is right back up. Now, from a practical perspective, there's also going to be an additional governance proposal submitted on the Fetch mainnet, which will give you additional clarity on the specifics of the timing and, generally speaking, the process going forward as the merger date approaches. But once again, everything has been tested and battle tested, and this isn't something that you should rush into. Simply inform yourself when the resources are out, and that's it. That would be the simplest approach. So thank you, everyone. And now let's go ahead and invite the community to ask all the questions that they'd love to. Community members, one simple note: if you have a question specific to Trent or Hermione or Ben, please tell them that you're asking them that question. And I can already see a bunch of raised hands. Nonetheless, I'll give everyone an opportunity to raise their hand. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to request to ask a question, simply press on the mic and request, and I'll happily bring you up. All right, then I see that Elias has a question. Elias, I will. Well, a lot of questions are already coming in. All right, let's start with Elias. Elias, XBT, you're approved, and hopefully we can hear you. Hello there, Elias. Feel free to ask your question.
Yeah, hey, how's it going? So I had a quick question about so last year in March there was an announcement of a $40 million investment from DWF Labs with Fetch AI, and I was just word on the street is it was like a market making deal, and I was curious, like, will that strategic partnership be continuing along in the future with the new ASI token?
I'm guessing this is for me. So yes, it was a combination of the deal. We can't obviously disclose the actual deal itself in public, but there will. We are always looking to do partnerships and do collaborations with different projects, and also there are communities, projects, funds who want to invest into the alliance. Would we do the deal or not? I can't say much at the moment, but we obviously receive all these queries from all these funds, and we kind of make a decision based on its merit. And this time, obviously, we'll collectively decide on it. So at the moment, there is nothing, but in the future, there might or might not be.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. All right, Elias, I shall remove you, and I will invite an additional speaker. So let's go ahead and invite George. George Finance Cap, you are approved. Alrighty, George, you're a speaker. Make sure to mention who it is that you're asking the question to. You're muted, Josh. Feel free to unmute yourself and
yes.
Go.
Good afternoon, everyone. I have a question which is coming all the time because I'm an influencer as well. It's coming on all the time about all this communication, but if ESI token as well is gonna be launched in all exchanges where Fetch, Ajax, and Ocean token is trading at the moment, straight away on the 15th of July.
Well, I mean, I think we can safely say that ultimately it will be launching on all the exchanges. It also depends on the exchanges. It doesn't just depend on us. We are working with all of the exchanges to try and get them to work with us on a specific date. Now, we're making all the efforts, and we're hoping that almost as many as we can enable to trade at the same date. There might be delays from the exchanges side. We will try our best. Technically, the contract wise, the network wise, we will be ready for sure. The exchanges have their own timescales, and some might or might not follow the date. We cannot control the exchanges. So hopefully that gives you some clarity.
Yes, thank you very much for that. And is there going to be a time limit of swapping our tokens?
No. I think every project will have to kind of chime in here. I'll let Trent and Ben tell about their projects, but for Fetch, we will automatically upgrade your network, like the Fetch network token, so you don't have to even worry about it. Any tokens you hold on Ethereum will I would like to say indefinitely, but perhaps not indefinitely, but you'll have a very long time scale for you to convert, so there's no need to rush. You'll be able to convert it. For exchanges, we expect most of the exchanges to just convert the token if you're sitting in the exchange on a particular date, and every exchange will have its own methodology. I'm sure they will inform you of it. So the answer, there's no short answer, but if you're holding the token on Ethereum or BSC for Fetch, you will have plenty of time to convert, and you will get given plenty of notice if there was a change to this approach.
I'd just like to extend that answer by telling you that, first of all, this is not financial advice, but generally speaking, as the three tokens and the three networks converge and the three tokens converge, you're actually incentivized to kind of find that place which is most liquid. And this isn't because that place is most liquid, but because the other places aren't as liquid. So while you have the path to migrate your funds and to bridge your funds open for years on end, it's important to take a look at that personally and to make that decision in a responsible way.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I would like to add from an Ocean perspective. So maybe for mental model for people overall, you can view that the ASI token is an ERC20 token on Ethereum mainnet with and also a native token of what is formerly called the Fetch mainnet, right? And there's a big fat bridge between those, right? But being an ERC20 on Ethereum mainnet, then it follows the ERC20 standard, and a lot of other chains bridge back and forth to Ethereum mainnet, right? As well as exchanges, because it's such a widely used standard. So then zooming in on Ocean, Ocean token itself is also an ERC20 token on Ethereum mainnet. So the shape of the Ocean token from a technology perspective and the shape of the ASI token from a technology perspective are quite similar in that way, right? So the migration contract that allows you to basically do this one-way swap from Ocean to ASI will simply be living on Ethereum mainnet as the baseline, and it's a one-way thing with this fixed conversion ratio that we published in the past. To the question of how long will that be live, and the answer is for Ocean protocol, it will be live for many years, maybe indefinitely. And this is because actually in the Ocean ecosystem, we've previously had a staking program where you can take Ocean and lock it for many years and then get rewarded passive rewards and active rewards, a program called data farming. And the locking, it's something called VE Ocean. So we have many people in the community that have actually locked their Ocean for 4 years, and they can't remove it. We don't have control over that either. It's decentralized. So, one of our major constraints in Ocean was to be able to serve those people who had these tokens that come unlocked 4 years from now. And so that's why, the migration contract is going to be around for many years at the very least, and maybe indefinitely. So that hopefully helps to answer some questions as well. I should also mention, over time, we will be deploying more bridges to other chains as well, right? So right now, Ocean protocol itself is deployed to 6 chains, right? Ethereum mainnet, Oasis Sapphire, BNB Smart Chain, and a few more. And with each of those, there is a bridge of Ocean going from Ethereum mainnet to that other chain and back, like a two-way bridge. So when we, on the heels of the baseline contracts on Ethereum mainnet, there will be bridges for all of these other networks that Ocean is deployed to.
And just to kind of extend that as well, Gregory, and this involves every other community member that's interested, you can actually check the status of the bridging contracts. You can check their state as well, so you can know whether the contract is live or not. But I assume that all 3 projects, if they make a decision to tombstone a bridge or to discontinue a bridge, that everyone would be informed. And in many ways, whenever one bridge is shut down, others are open. So it's important to kind of monitor the evolution from an interoperability perspective. But on a day-to-day basis, you can always just check the status of the contract, and that should pretty much give you all the information that you're looking for. Alrighty then, gentlemen, would you like me to take a few more questions from the community, given that it's the spaces has went on for quite a while?
Maybe let's take a couple more questions and then we can, yeah.
Alrighty then.
I think I could say for a moment from the. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Ben.
All right. Yeah, on the token bridging stuff, I guess I should briefly address that from the SNet perspective. Although it's mostly the same as what Trent and Humayun have already said. I mean, we can't formally guarantee what exchanges will do. I mean, they're listing tokens of their own volition and their own business interests. But I mean, we're obviously discussing with major exchanges, and it seems very likely that major exchanges will handle this in a smooth and automatic way in terms of converting AGIX into ASI. Right now, AGIX exists in the Ethereum-based and Cardano-based versions, and for people who are not keeping their tokens in centralized exchanges, but in hardware wallets and so forth. I mean, we're creating conversion bridges. We're building a conversion bridge on Cardano that lets you take the AGIX on Cardano into ASI on Cardano without exiting the Cardano universe, and it should, as in the Ocean case, I mean, we anticipate leaving these conversion bridges open for many years. I mean, we're not going to be continuing to build AI software networks that support the legacy AGIX token. So for actual token utility, you'll have to use the bridge. But like if someone's not paying attention for a long time, or they have a tax reason not to convert for a long time, like the bridge will still be there. So I mean, I think the aim is not to leave anyone behind and to bring everyone together into the ASI era, and I think we will come very close to that. I mean, when I saw before, we'd done a hard fork previously with AGIX, and there was a long tail of small issues with people who had some tokens in very small centralized exchanges we'd never even heard of, right? And we have managed eventually to resolve all those issues. So I mean, there's always complexities in crypto, but I think for major exchanges and for folks who are using hardware wallets and using our bridges, everything, I mean, looks like it should go quite smoothly. And this little bit of extra time that we're experiencing with the delay of the merger, I mean, I think, as Humayun said in his initial remarks, this certainly increases the odds of everything going very smoothly. Like I'm a bit reminded of when we did ICO for SingularityNet in 2017. There were no launch pads. There weren't that many groups auditing that sort of code. It was more work than it is to do a token sale now. There was more DIY. And similarly, like, this merger is the first of its kind. We're merging 3 major projects together. They're each on a bunch of different chains, and I mean, there's complications. We're working through them all. And I think if someone tried to do something similar to this a couple of years from now, they're going to find it a lot more streamlined also. So there's a reward for being the first in doing something cool and impactful, and there's a cost, which is you're fighting through a lot of hassles.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you. I'll go ahead and select another community member who'd love to ask a question now. And let's go ahead with Leonardo da Vinci. All right, Leonardo, I shall go ahead and approve you. And
I've always wanted to talk to Leonardo da Vinci.
All right, yeah, Leonardo, you've been approved, but sadly I can't see. Oh, you're a speaker. Go ahead, please.
Do we have identity verification that this is the real Leonardo da Vinci?
It's actually the Fat Pink Panther, which is also a misnomer. But I'm just excited to be here. And my question deals with anybody that wants to answer it. But if we're in an artificial intelligence arms race, and it's the decentralized for the people version against big tech, like, what do you guys think? Like, where do we feel like we are in the race? You know, are we ahead? Are we slightly behind? And then is this going to be like a turbocharger for the people and decentralized AI and a push to get to AGI and ASI?
Well, I think let me take this initially because then I've got to go and catch the flight. I mean, I think that if current LLMs with minor modifications are the route to AGI, then OpenAI or Google or Tencent will probably win. Now, I don't think that's the case, and not even everyone in big tech thinks that's the case, right? Like Jan LeCun at Facebook famously doesn't think that's the case. So if there's a bit more R&D and experimentation to do, and the current LLMs that are most popular are significant progress, but they're not yet the architecture that's really going to yield AGI, I mean, then I think we're in a very good position because we're an organization that's more capable of, flexible experimentation and with connecting together new things in new ways. And as Trent said, Bitcoin is the world's biggest supercomputer. So I mean, we have data on the internet, we have decentralized compute power, and we've got the ability to rapidly experiment with a lot of different ideas. So I think that the answer to your question sort of depends on whether you think you can get to AGI just by tweaking what big tech is now doing. If that's the case, honestly, they've probably won. I don't think it is the case. So then I think we're in an outstanding position.
Thank you, Ben. And Trent, would you love to extend that answer?
Yeah, so plus 10 to everything Ben said, and also even in the case that LLMs end up being the path to AGI, we within ASI, one of those horses is aggressively going down the LLM route as well, but a decentralized version, right? So maybe they get to AGI, OpenAI or someone gets to centralized AGI first, but hot on the heels of that, then will come decentralized versions, right? And that to me is, going to be kind of beautiful where, 3 months or 9 months later or whatever, every human on the planet will be able to access this in their own way, whatever the timeline is, right? So even if the race to AGI isn't one immediately, we can follow that, be a fast follower on decentralized AGI, and that can have a massive impact to humanity on its own, right? So yeah, I'm hopeful even if the near term race isn't one, right? And like Ben said, it's not entirely clear which will be the winner that way. And yes, we just have to keep having multiple horses on this and leveraging the unique superpowers that blockchain has, especially incentives.
Thank you, gentlemen, and thank you, Leonardo, for this brilliant question. In summation, Big Tech has one horse in the race, but we have an entire stable full of horses. So it's not all.
If I can just add a little bit, won't be long. it's not a black and white race. It could be a gray race, right? We don't all have to win, but in doing this race, or you need to have an alternative, and we are that alternative. And en route to kind of developing this one big AGI, what we are proponent of is also kind of smaller, more granular AGIs or AIs, which actually generate or unlock value for individuals, for smaller businesses. And we just want to be a viable alternative to big tech.
Thank you. Thank you, Humayun. I'm mindful of each and every one of you's time. And so now that Ben is hurrying to catch a flight, I assume that both Humayun and Tret are quite busy. And also seems like quite an optimal opportunity to finish this spaces here. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a privilege and a pleasure to host the first one, and I'd love to thank Ben, but he's already late for a flight, so I'll thank him next time. Humayun, Trent, thank you very much for your time. And for everyone listening, if you'd like to see more of these spaces, drop a comment to the Telegram groups or Discord channels or Reddits, Fetch AI, Ocean, and Singularity Net's respective groups. And thank you everyone for your time and attention. This concludes the first ASI Spaces session.
Thank you.